So I woke up this morning to find that I hit a very awesome milestone. 1,000 subscribers. Well, 1,001 now. And when I was getting pretty close to hitting 1,000, I started thinking a lot about the whole journey of doing this and just how... Who the f*** is calling me? Get all these spam messages. I started to think about how before I started actually very seriously doing YouTube, I thought I understood it pretty well, and I had been watching YouTube and just watching other channels grow ever since like 2007 when this whole thing started. And then once I actually started making YouTube videos, it made me realize that YouTube was just this entirely different beast. It's like you think you know it going in, but then once you actually start doing it, it's just like, oh, holy crap. It's so much more different than I had actually anticipated. I think one of the things that I felt like really helped with getting the channel to grow at a quicker pace, like starting from zero, is making videos about current industry trends. Like, for example, the easiest example would be I'm a video YouTuber. I talk about video related things, talk about gear, talking about editing. I think in the beginning I talked more so about editing. I can't even really remember exactly how long I've been editing. Like, I've been editing videos since I was a kid. At that time, professionally, maybe like 2 to 3 years. But even just having like a few years of experience of doing that thing going in, I was able to kind of know what kind of videos that I could make with that specific topic. So when I first started doing YouTube, and the reason why I felt it grew at a pretty decent pace was that I had made editing tutorials, and I still do from time to time. I don't find them that interesting to make anymore. When I was doing them, I would usually just make videos about one of the more highly searchable techniques, like for example, like object transitioning, fixing warp stabilizers, or whatever. It's like, it's not that hard to figure out what's the most highly searched like editing effect or technique or solution to an issue. I definitely feel that the fact that I started off the channel with doing more search-friendly and evergreen topics, that's what was able to get the channel to kind of get lifted off the ground at a faster pace. Like, I kind of started it with a little bit more intention. I wasn't really just making videos and throwing them up. There's a certain extent to where I was doing that, but then when I was starting to get a little bit more serious about growing it, definitely focusing on things that are evergreen and then focusing on things that are pretty highly searchable is something that I feel really helped get things off the ground and start to get things moving. It kind of gave me a good like baseline beginning. That was really hard. It's really hot. So for those of you who don't know, I like to skateboard. If you watch any of the earlier videos on my channel, you probably guessed that already. The reason why I wanted to incorporate this into the video is that with skateboarding, it's just one of those sports where you have to constantly put yourself through a lot of like mental pain. It's so frustrating to actually do the tricks. Like, as you could see here, I was trying to do the tray flip. I haven't been skating as consistently lately, and I was just getting frustrated with it. But the thing with skateboarding is that you feel really determined to actually land the trick. So I really wanted to land it on camera for this video, and I was just trying over and over again, just getting frustrated. It wasn't even really fun anymore. And in a sense, that's almost how YouTube can be sometimes. Like, you have to constantly put in all this effort to do it, and you have to screw up multiple times to actually like get really good at it. Like talking on camera right now, I'm actually surprised that I can talk the way that I'm talking on camera right now. If I tried doing this like a year or two ago, it would have been impossible. Like, I'm out in public right now. Well, there's no one really here. I'm actually just by myself, which makes it a lot easier. But just the overall repetition of doing it over and over again, and then viewing it on camera, seeing all your screw ups, seeing where you can be better at it, seeing like how you can adjust your technique on it. You have to put in so much repetition. You have to deal with the mental like discomfort of doing the trick. You have to like mentally push yourself to like new limits. And I feel like there's a siren. I feel like with YouTube, it's like I was so uncomfortable being on camera when I first started out, but I knew and understood that the repetition of it was what was going to help me and actually get better. Being mindful of like what you can do to actually like be better on camera, be better in presenting the information, and just overall like learning how to grow with it. It's something like skateboarding. Like, it took me a year to learn how to kickflip. It took me maybe like 2 years to learn how to tray flip, the trick that I was just struggling on. It just takes that daily practice of doing it to actually get good at it. And with YouTube, it's the exact same thing. You just have to keep doing it over and over again, and then somehow in some way, like, it actually starts to stick. You start to figure out the tiny little details you have to fix in how you're presenting yourself on camera and what you're doing to actually like get good at it. Eventually, like, I'm not saying that I have it figured out or anything, but just from doing it repeatedly and just sticking with it, and no matter how frustrating it can get, just sticking with it and doing it over and over again, and just learning to push yourself past the discomfort. It's not an easy task, learning to be more comfortable with it. It really just takes the repetition. Just over time, like, you are eventually going to see like a really huge improvement, especially if you look at your old videos. I can look at my old videos and just really cringe, but but now it's like I'm talking to this camera right now in a way that never really thought I would get to, in a way, because it's so simple yet it's so hard. Same thing with the skate tricks. It's like eventually they get to a point where it's really simple but there's going to be times where it just feels impossible to do, and that's how it always goes. So repetition, just keep doing it and learning to push yourself past the discomfort of it, and doing it for a couple years, it's like you eventually just kind of grow used to it and it becomes more natural. Alright, this looks like a good spot. Alright, so third lesson. Oh shit, I'm placing the camera on this like sketchy tree stump right now. So as far as the third thing that I would say I've learned goes, I would say to not force yourself to stay into one niche. I think that when you're first starting YouTube, like, it's important to keep it fresh for yourself, especially if it's something that you're pursuing and kind of really putting yourself into for the first time. Like, for me, like, when I started doing YouTube, I was like, okay, I'm going to be video niche. And then I thought, okay, well, what's the thing that is generally going to get the most traffic? And I thought, well, tutorials and reviews is what's going to get the most traffic. But then I found that only sticking to that category, it creatively, it just felt really boring. Like, at this stage that I'm currently at mentally right now, it's like I don't find it that interesting to talk about technical things. I kind of prefer talking about more creative things. Of course, you have to understand some of the technical stuff in order to really get the most out of the creative stuff, but talking about technical things is just not that interesting to me. And I found that after a while I was starting to get bored of talking about those things. Like, it's not that I'll stop doing it, it's more so that I feel like I just need to spice it up. I was kind of fluctuating between like advice videos, review videos, editing tutorials, and honestly, going back to what I said about the evergreen thing, I find that the reviews and editing tutorials was what helped get me more traffic to the channel, but I didn't want it to only be that, and I didn't want to be in that sort of niche. I'm not saying that I would never like make videos like that again. I just generally find that if I want to keep it interesting for myself, I don't want to just marry myself to a niche. It's good to experiment because you never really know what's going to work and what's not going to work. Like for example, when I first started the channel, I was doing editing reviews. I got a little bored of that, and then I went into more philosophical, sort of introspective kind of experience videos, and those are actually the videos that got the least amount of views, but actually the videos that actually made a bigger impact on people. Like I would actually get personal text messages from people saying, I really resonated with what you said. That meant a lot more to me than getting a few thousand views on like a review video, because ultimately one of the things that I really enjoy is getting people to kind of see things in a certain light and then make micro adjustments to their own life to just try to improve on it. It's a lot more deep and impactful versus gear videos. It's just like, oh, you informed me on a purchase, so now I'm just gonna buy it off of Amazon. And then after that, I was finding that, like, I even got a personal like DM like on Instagram from someone, and he said that what I had said in the videos resonated with him so well that he actually like wanted to meet up with me and get coffee, and that was actually a really cool experience. So if you're watching this, shout out to you. After a while, I started getting a little bit more focused on views, and the advice videos weren't getting that many views, so I switched back to the editing tutorials and reviews, and I was starting to notice that trend where it's like, yeah, I'm getting more traffic on the channel, but it's not exactly the most meaningful thing in the world for me to talk about. I think it's all about balance. It's like you gotta make some videos that are gonna drive some extra traffic into the channel, and then kind of just piggyback off of that traffic and make videos that you actually want to make, but be okay with the videos not getting as many views. But I find that if you approach it in that sort of way, then it makes it more fun for you. It also makes the YouTube channel more doable from like a business perspective. I don't want it to be like all business where all I do is talk about videos that benefit the algorithm, but then I don't want it to only be just personal videos and this and that, where it's just like I'm making the videos but they're not exactly getting a lot of traffic. It's like ultimately my goal with YouTube is to be able to have a creative outlet, but to also be able to use it as a second source of income. And I don't think one or the other will benefit me too much. So I find that doing a balance of it will work. And so, what was that? I'm like, why am I talking about this? But yeah, like just learning to kind of experiment with videos and figuring out what you like to do in a more personal, meaningful sense, and then figuring out what kind of works in a more traffic driving sense. I find that that's kind of what's been benefiting me the most with doing the YouTube channel. Fourth thing that I would say that I learned about doing YouTube is the importance of consistency, but also there's an importance on just pacing yourself. Because I remember when I first started, I was always focusing so much on trying to stick to the schedule, upload as consistently as possible, and I think that is something that's kind of necessary, and it's just one of the things that you kind of just have to learn to grind out in the beginning, because when your channel is small, like things like consistency is going to help like YouTube's algorithm pick up that you are actually like a serious like content creator. And if you upload very inconsistently in the beginning, then it's not really going to benefit you that much. Versus if you consistently upload for a very long time, even a few years, to the point where the channel has grown to even just a few hundred subscribers, it doesn't hurt you dramatically, in my opinion, to slow down a little bit, especially when you make more evergreen and more searchable kind of videos. Like I noticed in the past 2 months, I've really only uploaded like 2 videos, and even though I wasn't really uploading that much, the channel was still growing. I still managed to get like an extra 100 subs, like not really uploading much, and I kind of owe that to videos that I made that were evergreen and consistently got views whether I was uploading or not. But also, you don't want to stress over it to the point where it doesn't even become fun anymore. Like there have been a couple of times where I'm focusing on it so much and kind of stressing myself out over it to the point where like I don't even find it fun anymore. And I had to learn to kind of pace myself and learn to be a little more intentional with the uploads, like not just try to crap out videos all the time. It's like it all kind of comes down to balance. Be consistent, but then also like figure out a time where kind of slow down and like make more intentional content instead of just trying to like spit them all out, because that will normally reflect in the videos that you're making too, like how much fun you're actually having on it. If the viewers aren't really sensing that you actually make videos from the heart, then it's going to reflect in the videos and it's going to make them less enjoyable to watch. I find that when I've made videos that are a little bit more intentional, I don't try to just spit them out. That's usually when I've made my best videos. All right, we are back in the office / bedroom, and if you guys can hear like helicopters outside, my apologies, just try to bear in mind with me. There's actually a really huge fire a few miles away from my house and they're trying to put it out right now. But basically, before I get into the last tip, I just wanted to acknowledge everybody who is watching this video and has watched the video up to this point. It really means a lot to me that there's actually people that are willing to watch the videos and actually subscribe to the channel, because in reality, you guys can be doing so many other things than watching my videos. Like I don't take it for granted that I have like a small audience of people that are willing to watch the videos. I just want to acknowledge you guys and thank you for the support. I want to give a big thank you to the people who have personally messaged me saying how videos have resonated with them. I want to thank the people that have taken the time to comment on the videos and really encourage me to keep going. The people who have liked the videos, the people who have shared the videos, like any inch of support for the videos, I'm extremely grateful for, and I don't take it for granted because I'm just one in millions of YouTubers. So the fact that people actually take the time to watch my channel, and the fact that people have taken the time to acknowledge that they love the videos, and just any inch of support, I'm really, really grateful for it. And to celebrate that, I decided to get myself one of these, and as you can tell, I've pre-celebrated already off camera, but this is actually one of my favorite drinks. Anyway, cheers to you guys. Oof, that's strong. Just the way I like it. So the last tip that I would say is something that I feel has really helped me with making YouTube videos and just kind of overall has shaped my approach, is learning how to incorporate your personality into the videos. And the reason why I say that is because social media nowadays is really commercialized, and a lot of times, like generally for a lot of YouTubers, a lot of Instagrammers, a lot of TikTokers, it's like there's nothing in particular that really makes people dramatically stand out, because we're all kind of systematically following this procedure of how to create content. Like we're always trying to upload on similar schedules. We're all talking about the same things. We're all talking about the same trends. When you look at people's Instagram profiles, everyone kind of looks the same. Everyone's taking hero shots of themselves and adding some inspirational captions to it. Because of how big social media has gotten now, it's like so commercialized to the point where everyone is kind of like shaping and molding themselves into fitting into this like sort of commercialized social media like sort of sense. I don't know if that's making sense. And I'm not trying to hate on it, because there's definitely a lot of pros to it. There's a lot of great opportunities that have come to creators over the past few years because of the commercialized aspect of social media. But at the same time, there's a certain extent to where I feel like it's lost its soul. So that's why the most successful YouTubers are kind of the ones that are able to bring that soul back. And I'm not saying that I perfectly embody like what I'm saying, but it's more, I'm just sharing it in more of the sense that it's something that I've learned recently, and it's something that I wanted to try to incorporate into the videos a little bit more frequently. Like this video today, I could have just sat in front of my table and talked about all these different tips, but instead I was just like, you know what, let me make it more fun, let me make it a little bit more casual, and I went to go do all the skating stuff and filmed all those clips, and that was a lot of fun. Like this video has been like a more fun one for me to make because it was a little bit more impromptu, it was a little bit more it was way not rehearsed at all. Like I didn't really plan much. I basically just planned the video like as I went along. I'm like, oh, let me film this, and like, oh, let me do this, and then I'll do it here. And that was fun, like to be able to just kind of very loosely put it together and then just try to be a little bit more, I guess, myself in front of it. Makes it more fun. And I'm hoping that it actually makes the video more fun to watch for you guys, because if I just made videos where I'm just sitting here like writing out a script and reading it off my teleprompter and then just film, edit, and whatever, and export it, upload it, and call it a day, it gets to a point where it's not really as fun. Another comment that I can mention too is how like the old YouTube was a lot more about self-expression and not so much a commercialized thing, because obviously the company wasn't as big at that time. But now that it's kind of gone into this corporate direction where there's a lot more money involved, there's a lot more advertisers involved, it's like they've started to kind of weed out the whole like you type of thing. So I feel like if you were to find a balance between old YouTube being where it's like you can goof around, like do this and that and just have fun with it overall, how YouTube pretty much started, and then you can incorporate the more commercialized modern aspect of YouTube where you're creating search-friendly content, you're doing it for the algorithm and all that. It's like learning how to incorporate both of those things, I feel like is going to give the channel a lot more soul, and it's gonna overall just be more fun for you. Because if we're just sitting here like doing the exact same thing over and over again and we don't spice it up or try to add some personality and fun into it, eventually it's not really going to be fun for you to make videos anymore. And I feel like that's what happened with me too. It's like I would just follow the exact same procedure for all the videos and then just kind of keep it within the confines of this room. And it's like it kind of became boring to me after a while. So I've been trying to experiment with different ways to actually make the videos more fun. And so far, like even just from the experimentation of it, that's already made YouTube be a lot more fun. These helicopters are driving me nuts, man. It's already like helped with making the video process a lot more fun, because overall, like at the end of the day, YouTube is meant to be fun. It's not supposed to be looked at as like just another job. Like in a way, it is kind of like a job, and that's kind of the ultimate goal of what we're trying to do, is to make a living creating content. But at the same time, we have to remember like the whole purpose of why we started in the first place. We have to remember where YouTube like actually started in the first place, and kind of like maintain that vision of like, okay, at the end of the day, it's like we're just trying to have fun, we're trying to be creatively fulfilled, and we're just trying to do something where we actually have like the say in the final product, and we actually have a say in the creative process, and then just something that we can like call our own. And I feel like trying to look at it more that way, and trying not to focus too much on like, oh, like ad friendly content and advertisers and this and that. It's like once you incorporate all those things, it kind of stops being fun. So just learning to find the balance between fun videos and more like ad-friendly videos, because I don't really think one is better than the other. I learn to have fun, like try not to take it too seriously, because we take it too seriously, then it's just gonna stop being fun. And to me, YouTube is just the thing where it's meant to be fun. Like, I'm gonna stop rambling now, but I just wanted to say a huge thank you to everyone who has decided to support the channel, anyone who has watched this video all the way through, and the people that continue to watch the videos from this point on, and all of you guys who continue to support the videos from here on out. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys later.